Dan RadioStyle, hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. To him that hath. Really? Who talks like that these days? Well, apparently about 50 years ago, 60 years ago, Neville Goddard did. Yeah. From Your Faith is Your Fortune, chapter 10. This is an amazing chapter. Huge takeaway to it. And one small caveat at the beginning, and then we'll get right into the reading. But the real big takeaway, what we notice is what we get, period. What you focus on is what we get. What we have now is kind of we have everything right now is true, but it's sort of misleading. For a lot of us, we kind of feel like, okay, so I've imagined it. I open my eyes, it should be there. Or it should immediately show up, right? Because I have it already. What it is you have it in an etheric sense. You have it in an energetic sense. You're creating it physically. It's happening. As I've recently used as an example, but putting the ingredients together for a cake or for your dinner, your meatloaf, whatever, you cut them all up, you prep them all. That's like the techniques. Kind of mix them all together, right? And then you you're thinking about it. That's the ingredients, like figuring out what you want, all the things that need to happen, blah, 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 right? Then you put them all together. That's basically the techniques. Then you shove them in the oven and you wait. Throw them in the oven. Boom, done, right? Like 30 minutes later, you pull it out, you got some delicious food. Or 45 minutes later, you got some yummy meatloaf. Or maybe you got to take the top off it. Maybe you got to flip it at some point. But whatever the case is, it's happening. It's not so much right now as it is. I mean, it is. I'm not trying to say it's not. It is right now. But it eventually manifests. It eventually is created into physical form. So what we notice is what we get more of. If you notice that things are starting to happen, you're seeing signs, you're seeing coincidences, you keep thinking about this thing, and I keep seeing things that are kind of helping with that, then that kind of helps sort of reaffirm, but ultimately it's what's going on inside ourselves that creates what happens outside of ourselves. And it's when we look at what's happening outside of ourselves, and then we question the whole process, or we question, does this work? Does this not work? Well, why do all these people say it works when I'm having a hard time manifesting X? I'll say for me, and this is the little caveat, I learned about manifesting techniques a lot of years ago, and I spent a lot of time slowly working on them. I manifested a great job in radio years ago, which was something that was very hard to do. So I learned a long time ago, I was able to manifest pretty much anything I put my mind to. And I knew that in school, and I knew that in a lot of things. So it was just one of those things that I kind of learned over time, that whatever I put my mind to, it happened. And then I learned about manifestation, and I'm like, wow, that's basically what I've been doing. That's awesome. So with refining that and playing with that for, 25 years-ish, maybe longer, I've gotten, one, rather comfortable with it. Two, I don't doubt it at all, ever, never doubt it. If something's not being manifested in my life, if it doesn't seem like it's happening, if it doesn't feel like I'm moving in that direction, whatever, because it'll come to me in any number of directions, I realize that the problem lies inside of me, that I need to change something. I've either got an idea about something, I've got a belief about something, I've got something that is limiting me on this. And I realize what I need to do is pay attention to what I'm saying and doing, seriously pay attention to how I relate to this thing I'm trying to manifest, what thoughts I have about it. Randomly, maybe I'm in the shower and I'm washing my hair and I'm like, really? Because it just doesn't make sense that he wants me to be like that at the job. And I was like, oh, that's why I'm not getting along with the guy. Here I am having an argument with him in the shower. Thank God he's not actually there, because that'd be awkward. Hello. But I realize that the problem lies in me, 100%. And if I'm trying to manifest a relationship with a person, for example, I can definitely manifest getting myself close to them, which is what I've found. And in a lot of cases, I've been very successful in kind of a reciprocal attitude. But there's definitely been people that I've attracted close to me that didn't seem all that interested in me. And there's been some I've attracted to me that I didn't really like once I got to know them better. They seemed really good from afar, and then they came up close and I'm like, oh, please go away, right? So there's a lot of things that can happen in this whole game of manifestation. There's a lot of reasons why you may not have what it is that you seek, but I'll tell you, it's not the technique. Promise you that, unless you're doing just some really weird technique. But if you're doing any of the techniques that any of us coaches are talking about, you're fine. It's not the technique. It's not. And I don't believe, like someone brought up today, it's like we don't question whether it's cooking. We question whether we've got the right ingredients. So with that analogy, because it was a decent one, You've got all the right ingredients. You know what you want. You've put your mental images towards it. So I can assure you, you've got the ingredients. And then you did them properly. And now where a lot of us lie, we pay a lot of attention to what's going on in our lives right now, or the fact that they're not with us yet. Like, I want to wake up tomorrow morning and see them in my bed. That's what I'm going to bed with. You're probably going to be disappointed when you wake up. First off, if you go to bed and then someone who doesn't have a key to your house magically shows up and gets in bed with you, many people actually call that a crime and probably not a good idea, right? We can think about it, we can feel it because it's coming. It's being created. This opportunity for sure is coming, without a doubt. And it's already now in the ethers, and it's already shooting over to them, right? It's now happening for sure. But the physical, the way it condenses into physicality, the way they finally come to us in our life, like that might be a day, it might be an hour, it might be a year. I don't know. It really depends what's going on in your life, what you're trying to manifest, and what that involves. A lot of people are like, I want to have a really nice house. All right, well, you either need to figure out a way to move in with a friend that's got a really nice house, or you need to get some sort of income that can provide that, or you need to maybe marry somebody that's well off and can provide, right? Like, things have to happen. And if you're to be like, I want a really nice house, and I want it for free, and I don't want anyone to care, and bam, that's what I want. I'm not going to settle until I get it. It's like, you probably will find some weird way that that'll manifest itself, but, right? Like, ultimately, just, I'm trying to manifest something and help me get there. That's how I see it. So Goddard really gets into us accepting either A, what's going on inside ourselves, or us accepting what we see outside of ourselves. And what you focus on, what you accept as your truth, as your reality. What you accept is your normal, your natural. What's your new pair of shoes versus your old pair of shoes? Many want to say that is true, and then they wonder why. Like, they say the thing, they do affirmations. Like, this is true, that is true, I'm in love, I am this, I am that. And then they look at what's happening outside of themselves, and it doesn't match. So, again, they're looking at what's going on around. It doesn't match, so they doubt what they've been saying, and they believe what they've been seeing. Many want to say that they do everything correctly, but it's still not happening. Again, the core problem is paying attention to what's going on right now and having that have any weight at all. At all. Like, it should weigh nothing what's happening right now, because that's what we're changing. That's what I was changing. I wasn't a DJ. I never once woke up in the morning and said, dude, you're not a DJ at WIMZ. You're not a DJ. Forget it. Never once did I say that. Not once did I look at my actual reality and think that had anything to do with what I'm becoming. Never once. In fact, to me, it's a weird concept. I don't understand that. I kind of want people to explain it to me, but I really don't want to spend that much time thinking about how I would trust what's going on right now to represent who I'm going to be tomorrow. I haven't even made those decisions yet. A lot of things could happen today that would affect my tomorrow. Why would I assume today is my tomorrow? It's not. So these are the keys that I've used and taken away. This is what it sounds like to me that Goddard's talking about, and there's a couple other gems in here as well. To him that hath, take heed therefore how ye hear. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken, even that which he seemeth to have. Luke 8:18. Obviously one of the older versions of the Bible, because no one puts THs all over the place like that. But the Bible, which is the greatest psychological book ever written, warns man to be aware of what he hears. Then follows this warning with the statement, to him that hath it shall be given, and to him that hath not it shall be taken away. Though many look upon this statement as one of the most cruel and unjust of the sayings attributed to Jesus, it still remains a just and merciful law based upon life's changeless principles of expression. And again, what he's saying is, for those who focus on, I have it, have more of it. For those who focus on how I don't have it, have less of it. Done. It's a mathematical equation. What you're focusing on is what you're creating more of. Man's ignorance of the working of the law does not excuse him nor save him from the results. Law is impersonal and therefore no respecter of persons. Man is warned to be selective in that which he hears and accepts as true. Everything that man accepts as true leaves an impression on his consciousness and must in time be defined as proof or disproof. Everything that man accepts as true leaves an impression on his consciousness. So Goddard's been talking this entire book. It's all about consciousness, all about consciousness, all about consciousness. He talks about how anything you feel is instantly pushed out and the subconscious runs and makes it so. This sentence, everything that man accepts as true, leaves an impression on his consciousness and must, in time, be defined as proof or disproof. One way or the other. I can believe that I can walk on water, and I can believe it, and I can believe it, and I can believe it, and then I can go out to the swimming pool and try to walk on water and go plunk. Disproved it. But up until that point, I was doing everything right. Now, again, would I doubt that I couldn't walk on water? I don't know. I'm not really trying to walk on water right now. I'm not even close to the level where I'm trying to break physics on this planet. But maybe when I'm like 80, let's have that discussion, because maybe I figured it out by then. But no, I'm so far away from that right now. I got a long thing. I'm still trying to clean up all my thoughts. Come on. Perceptive hearing is the perfect medium through which man registers impressions. A man must discipline himself to hear only that which he wants to hear, regardless of rumors or the evidence of his senses to the contrary. As he conditions his perceptive hearing, he will react only to those impressions which he has decided upon. This law never fails. Fully conditioned, man becomes incapable of hearing other than that which contributes to his desire. First off, one of the major DJs when I was trying to get my job, he was at an FM, it was like a 2,000 watt or 1,000 watt, it was a pretty small FM station, and he was gobbling up all these little radio stations, and he was becoming somebody out there in Tennessee. I worked for one of his little stations, and when I quit him because I got my good job, he was like, what, WIMC, what, the AM? And I said, no, the FM. And he goes, the FM? Like, he was so dumbfounded. This was a person that never thought I would amount to anything, and never once did I care what he thought. It's also another reason why when you're manifesting, it's not good to talk to other people, even if they're supportive. You can. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't as a general rule. And one of them is these kinds of things where their perception comes into play. It's not just your perception. So maybe you heard them say, yeah, totally, I want to go out next week. And they heard you say, no, I totally don't want to go out next week. You're like, but no, that's not what he said. He said, I want to go out next week. So if this friend wasn't there and then you thought you heard that, that's what's probably going to happen. But since your friend's there to doubt it, now you're going to ask them, and now you've got to prove or disprove their theory. Not yours, theirs. So now you're going to ask them, hey, we going out this weekend? Who knows? Who knows what he's going to say? Might say no. I don't know. God, as you have discovered, is that unconditioned awareness which gives you all that you are aware of being. To be aware of being or have anything is to be or have that which you are aware of being. Let me say that again. To be aware of being or having anything is to be or have that which you are aware of being. What we are, who we are, while we're being it, what we believe is possible, what we're conscious of, what we look at, all of that is being. All of that is consciousness. It happens in a lot of different ways. It's really hard to like pinpoint it and say, all right, just do this and this and this, and then they'll fall out of your ceiling and land on your sofa. I wish it was that easy. If it was, I mean, we wouldn't have all these channels and stuff, right? There's obviously a little more to it than that. So Goddard continues, to him that hath that which he is aware of being, it shall be given. Good, bad, or indifferent, it does not matter. Man receives multiplied 100-fold that which he is aware of being. In keeping with this changeless law, to him that hath not, it shall be taken from him and added to that one that hath. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You can only magnify that which you are conscious of being. How many people fall into the rich get richer, the poor get poorer? Think about it. They get all the love. They get the relationships. This is the same thing. So what we're focusing on. Be one of the richer. Be one of the people that has more wealth. Be one of them. Stop being mad at them and go, you know what? Instead of being one of the poor, I'm going to be one of the richer. I want to be one of them. I want to be one of the people where all this stuff starts to happen. Like I talk about in the mirror technique, link below. Look in the mirror and be, I am wealthy. I am rich. I am finding the best career path and the best things to make income, the best ways to stream revenue to myself. I am coming up with the path of my life that I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be fulfilled. I'm going to be abundantly wealthy. I'm going to have a nice house. I'm going to be able to vacation. This is the life I am creating. And you believe that every day, every single day. And you know what? You're not done creating your life until the last day you created the last day of your life and created the last breath. And then you're like, no more, right? Ashes to ashes. So that is part of how this process works. All things gravitate to that consciousness which they are in tune. Likewise, all things disentangle themselves from that consciousness with which they are out of tune. Divide the wealth of the world equally among all men, and in a short time, this equal division will be as originally disproportionated. Wealth will find its way back into the pockets of those from whom it was taken. Instead of joining the chorus of the have-nots who insist on destroying those who have, recognize the changeless law of expression. Consciously define yourself as that which you desire. Once defined your conscious claim established, continue in this confidence until the reward is received. This is his words. He doesn't make it sound like it's instant. Yeah, it can be, but generally it's not. Most of us don't manifest instantly because of the damage we do in the process. Most of us have a hard time controlling our thoughts and our feelings to any length, and so we would wish horrible things on each other and then feel bad about it. But we do it all the time. I hate you. I wish you'd die. And you're like, oh no, because if that actually came true, how bad would you feel? So this is very powerful that we understand that we get what we look at. We get what we focus on. We get what we believe is right for us. We get what we think we are worthy of. We get what we feel natural to. There's a lot of words that are used to describe the same basic thing. We create what we are. And if you want to create different stuff, you've got to be different stuff. You've got to become different. You've got to change something. Maybe it's caring more about strangers, and for some reason that'll help you manifest more income. It could be tied to something totally innocuous like that. Now, in reality, it makes sense because from a universal standpoint, an energetic standpoint, a completeness standpoint, it makes a lot of sense to someone like me. Oh, you mean you started treating people good and then all of a sudden you started making more money? Huh, well, that's a coinky-dink, isn't it? So again, what we're being isn't necessarily how can I be more loved? Well, you can be more loving to random strange people. I want to be in a relationship with a specific person. How can I be that already? Well, be really cool. Be appreciative every time you see relationships of other people. Be really helpful to your friend that's maybe in a relationship or trying to go through something. Learn. Pay attention to people. Find couples that have been in long relationships and talk with them. Learn. There's a lot of things that we can do to fill the time that's being filled with the manifesting process. And a lot of the times, it's that part of the journey that we fail to do, that we go, law of attraction will just drop it in my lap. No, it's still a journey. It's still a journey. I don't want to make the drive to Sacramento. It's a really long way. But I'll tell you what, I can't sort of halfway do it. I can't just go part of the way and then be like, oh, I'm going to imagine myself there the rest of the way. And then, I don't know, I'll drive in the last hour. It doesn't work like that. Or if you're driving that way, you're probably putting other people's lives at risk. It's the process. The process requires us to do things, us to change. It's consciousness inside of ourselves. There's a lot of coaches that talk about how everything just falls to you, and it's not. We attract it. We create it. It is us. This is ours to create. It's our consciousness that does it. And it will usually involve a little action and a little receiving. It's just kind of how it plays out. So finishing off with Goddard, I am come not to destroy, but to fulfill. Nothing is actually destroyed. Any seeming destruction is a result of a change in consciousness. Consciousness ever fills full the state of which it dwells. The state from which consciousness is detached seems to those not familiar with the law to be destructive. However, that is only preparatory for the new state of consciousness. I've talked about it before. I lost a job one time. If I wouldn't have lost the job, I've lost more than one job. If I wouldn't have lost this particular job and gotten laid off, which was scary as crap, if it wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have immediately been open to a new job. I wouldn't have immediately started looking for a new job. I wouldn't have immediately found the great job that I got, which led to where I'm at now. And it got me into coding. It got me into all sorts of stuff. I became a rock star at that place and learned some amazing skills that I was majorly able to capitalize on. Thank God that happened. So many people look at that, oh, I got laid off. Everything's falling apart in my world. No, it's not. Everything's coming together. You're getting rid of the crap that needs to go. Yeah, but person's with someone right now. That's fine. They're probably learning some lessons you're not able to teach them. Lessons that are probably like not good, not helpful. They're going to come back to you and be like, I'm so glad that you are a normal person. My God, Tracy is a mess. Or Sven is horrible. I don't know why Sven. I don't know. This final little part. Claim yourself to be that which you want filled full. Claim yourself to be that thing. Nothing is destroyed. All is fulfilled. To him that hath it shall be given. Remember you have it. Remember you are it. Remember it's a process. Remember it's happening. Yes, it's thoroughly now. It's there. It's up in the ethers. It's floating around. Let it. Allow it. It's coming. Don't look at what's happening as any sign of it not coming or coming. I mean, again, you're going to get signs and symbols. That's great. Don't get too hung up on that. Realize what's happening inside of you is what matters. What you see outside of you is going to change immediately, tomorrow, next moment, whatever. Don't get hung up on the little things that happen during the day. Don't get hung up on what you experienced in the day. Ultimately, what are you pushing out? Who are you inside? What are you being? How are you being? That is what matters. That is what does the creating. And that is why some of us haven't found it yet. But you're going to make amazing coaches when you do. And you're going to be the one screaming the loudest on the mountaintops that this is the coolest thing I have ever found because I figured out how to manifest stuff. I figured out the secret of life. And you have. It's just that practice. It's just that understanding. It's just getting a few successes or failures even under your belt and paying attention to them. And from that, your faith is your fortune. Dan RadioStyle.